Okay, last set of notes, day 10 covers linear applications. So still lines, but we're going to do a word problem with lines. Before we do that though, in a minute in your groups, you are going to be doing this warm-up at the top, which is all 4 of these problems. So 3 of them are lines and 1 is a review. If you need a review of 1, we covered it in day 1. So move your desks together. You have 10 minutes for all 4 problems, please. Okay, up here is my work with answers. So please check. Number 1, x and y intercept. Hopefully we knew how to do that since I reviewed that on the homework quiz. It's a different function, but x-intercept means that y is 0, y-intercept means that x is 0. They do need to be written as points. For number 2, I would suggest that you draw a picture. You should see then that you have a horizontal line, goes through the y-axis. So it's going to be y equals whatever the y value of your point is.
Is it -2, 0?
Yes. Thank you. Okay, I have a mistake. This one should be -2, 0. And then number 3, find the slope of the line that you have, which is 1/3. Perpendicular slope is opposite reciprocal then. For 4, find the slope between the 2 points. You can use either point to write your equation. Again, leave it in point slope form. Do not do extra work. It looks like it was kind of mixed. Some of us knew what we were doing, some of us a little less so. Any questions before we do our last problem together? Okay, for the word problem, I'm asking with all respect that you just please put the phones aside for 5 minutes. Okay, this is the only new thing on day 10. And this is important, meaning you're going to see it again. A lot of us on a test, when we see a word problem, we sometimes maybe just quit. Stop. You can't do that. Okay, so let's go through this one together so we know what to expect when we see this again. The number of board feet that can be obtained from a log depends on the diameter in inches of the log and its length. The following table shows the number of board feet that can be obtained from a log that is 32 feet long. Find a linear model for the number of board feet as a function of log diameter. So we've talked about this wording, and I stressed it before. Function of log diameter. What information does that give us?
The input.
The input. Thank you. Log diameter is going to be our x. It's going to be our input, which means the other variable, board feet, is going to be our y. So for our model, all of our points are going to be diameter, comma, board feet. Now, that's how the table's organized, but you're not always going to be given a table. So it's important to know that vocabulary because you will not always be given a table. Find a linear model means find a line. So we need to find an equation of a line. We have 4 ordered pairs, you'll see here. We just need to pick 2 of them. We don't need all 4. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose the first one and I'm going to choose the last one. For any linear model, we're going to need slope. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to find the slope between those 2. So y minus y, 360 minus 180, over x minus x, or 22 minus 16. So that gives us 180 over 6, which is a slope of 30. For our model then, we need slope, which is 30, and a point. Doesn't matter which point you choose. I'm going to choose the first point. So our model becomes y minus 180 equals 30 times x minus 16. Okay, you know how 15 minutes ago I said just leave the equation like that, don't change it? This is the one time you actually have to solve for y. This is not considered a function. This is not a function because it's not y equals. So anytime that you see function, you have to solve for the variable. So I'm going to distribute that 30. and I get y minus 180 is equal to 30x minus 480. If I add 180 over then, I get y equals 30x subtract 300. That then is a function. Instead of y, it would be better to use f of x, but I'm fine if you use y.
So this is function of something that's always like the other side of f of x.
Right, whatever is the function of is the x or the input. Okay, B, explain the meaning of the slope in the line of explain the meaning of the slope of the line in context of the problem. From our equation, the slope is 30. If we remember, slope is always change in y over change in x. It's more helpful then if our slope is a fraction. So instead of 30, we're going to write it as 30 over 1. So 30 is our change in y, and 1 is our change in x. But instead of y and x, we need context. Y is board feet, and x is diameter. So what that means is, when diameter increases by 1, board feet increases by 30. So in a sentence, when diameter increases by 1 inch, the number of board feet increases by 30. How do I know that board feet is increasing and not decreasing?
It's not
Positive slope. Thank you. Okay, last one, C. How many board feet of lumber can be obtained from a log 32 feet long with a diameter of 19? How many board feet? That tells us what we're looking for. Board feet is y, so it tells us that we are looking for y, which means we need to know x. Now, please be careful here. We're given two numbers, 32 and 19. Which one is x? 19. Our x is diameter, so 19 is going to be our x. So we get y equals 30 times 19 minus 300. I don't know what 30 times 19 is.
570.
Thank you.
I looked it up.
So we get 270 board feet.
Hey, don't be doing that math.
Okay. I try to be transparent with you. You're going to see this again. You're going to see this again, so pay attention to the vocabulary, set up your points, and find your equation. You all know how to do this, but don't go into the test and just think, I'm going to skip this question.